So the title itself is saying that introduction to the hydraulic pumps. So today we'll see how many types of pumps are there, what is the working principle of pump, and by the name itself we know that the pumps are something device which are used for sending the water from one point to the another point, right? So that's why we say this these as hydraulic pumps. So as they are doing some work on some external boundaries, right? They need actually first of all work input to them, and we need to supply that work from some external sources. And those external source, maybe it may be connected with some electrical motor, or you can couple this with some turbine kind of configuration, right? If you're having something that by that you can connect, or in most of the cases, right, in practical application we have seen we are using electrical motor, right, to run the pump. So it will be requiring some amount of work, but that work requirement will be much smaller than the overall network output, right, of the hydraulic power plant. So if total rating of the pump, if we look at, it will be requiring only something called 2 kilowatt power, or sometime it will be lesser than that. But overall electrical power generation that you are doing from hydroelectric plant, that will be in megawatt capacity. So it actually justifies the cost of it, right? When you are attaching the hydraulic pump, right, in a hydroelectric power plant. So a pump is something, it is a hydraulic machine which converts basically mechanical energy into the hydraulic energy, or you can say the pressure energy. So it takes the water, right, which is coming from some source, right? Let's suppose this is a reservoir, or it is something where water is filled, from where we are sending it back to the reservoir. For that purpose, we do use the pump. So pump basically what to do, it will convert the mechanical energy into the hydraulic energy or pressure energy. So there are two types of pumps as per your syllabus, but there are various other types of pumps are also available. So we are going to discuss only these two: centrifugal pump and reciprocating pump. So some critical parameters which need to be considered while we are selecting the type of pumps to be used, right, in hydroelectric plant. First of all, how much amount of fluid you need, right, at the reservoir end. So based on that quantity, you can decide the rating of your pump, right? How much the rating. So in how much kilowatt capacity pump you need. So you can decide based on the amount of fluid to be pumped. And the second, the properties of fluid, what type of fluid basically you are going to pump in the reservoir, and type of power supply. Then last is cost and mechanical efficiency of the pump. This is also very very important point, right? Mechanical efficiency will be accounting for all the losses which are occurring in actual working of the pump. So losses are many more, right? By this time you might be knowing so many losses from thermodynamic concept view. Also, you can relate. So there are various losses which can be accounted by the mechanical efficiency of pump, or mechanical efficiency of the blower, or if mechanical efficiency even we can define for compressor as well. So cost, first of all, it should be low cost always that we desired, and it should have highest possible mechanical efficiency. So that's one of the requirements. So these are the important points need to be considered while we are selecting the type of pump to be used in hydroelectric power plant. So if we look at the broad classification of the pumps, so pumps initially means main categories are kinetic type of pump and positive displacement work. The positive displacement pump, right? So positive, whenever we're talking about displacement, that means it will be requiring something called reciprocating kind of motion. If that is not there, in that case it will become rotary. So all the piston cylinder kind of arrangement type of pumps will come under this category. So this is the kinetic, where motion will be generated with the help of some rotary type of effects. So if we just look at the kinetic, first one is centrifugal, second is a regenerative turbine, and third one is special effects. So these all effects you can create, right, in order to send the water from one point to the another point. So based on this principle, basically these pumps usually do work. And the positive displacement, reciprocating piston cylinder kind of arrangement, or rotary vane or gear screw, or a blower kind of cases. These all comes under the positive displacement types of pumps. So in your syllabus, we will be focusing only on centrifugal effects as well as on reciprocating effects. So reciprocating pump and centrifugal pumps will be discussed in detail in your case. So if we talk about the centrifugal pump, so by the name itself, it's saying that some centrifugal force will be generating within the casing of the pump, and because of that, it is used to transfer the water from inlet to the outlet. So the moment your water is coming in, right, in this case, the water will be coming at the center, right? So it will be coming axially, and finally it will be rotating by some external source. So some external shaft, you will be rotating the pump. So some external torque is being applied, and because of that, water will undergo in the forced vortex condition. So you are providing the vortex into the water system. The movement is entering into this. So it basically works on the principle of forced vortex flow. Because of that, centrifugal force will be developing at the center. So certain mass of fluid basically will be allowed, and it will be entering through the eye of impeller. So it exactly a center it will be entering, and finally it will be rotating by some external torque that you are providing with, and finally that water will be this pressure of water will rise from initial to the final point, and transfer of water will take place. So that's a simple funda. So centrifugal pump is also known as rotor dynamic pumps, right? Or we can say dynamic pressure pump. So it works on the principle of centrifugal force. So in this type of pumps, liquid is subjected to wheeling motion, right, by rotating impeller, which is made of number of backward curved blades. So the liquid enters into the impeller, right, at the center, or we can say the eye, and get discharged into the casing and close in the outer edge of the impeller, and finally comes out. So by geometrical way, if you look at the geometry is something like that. So water will be entering through this eye. So this is the eye, or we can say the center, and center is having its own veins, right? So these are the blades which are attached. Its own veins through which it will be coming, and finally when striking over these blades, this is having curved veins, right? Curved veins which are attached over the impeller. This is the impeller section. So the further kinetic energy will be enhanced right here, and as it is rotating, so centrifugal force will also be generating within this casing. So water is entering like axially, and finally after rotating throughout, and it will be coming at 90-degree, right, through this spiral core. So this portion we say as volute, right, volute casing, through which water will come out. So it will be rotating like this, and finally will come out. So if we look at the detailed view of this, right, so this will be something like this, the enlarged view. So the water will be entering through the guide vents. These are the guide vents. So the purpose of guide vents is to direct the flow at a certain angle. So these are the fixed blade basically. They will not be rotating. So water will be entering through this, and finally it will be impinging over these blades. So these blades are rotating blades, and these are the curved vents basically. Look at the profile also, curved vents. So they will be striking over there, and then finally they will be rotating. So centrifugal force will be generating, and because of that, pressure will rise significantly of the water which is coming from the inlet, and finally water will be discharged through this bolide casing out. So immediately after that, you can utilize this to send into the reservoir. So immediately after this, the piping system will be attached, and it will be connected to the reservoir. So as I said, that is a very simple phenomena. So at the center, water is coming, and finally, after entering here, it will be passing through the vents, right? Curved vents are there, and it will be following the path and finally coming out. And this complete part is rotating, right? This is the impeller. So the machine is consists of impeller rotating within the case, right? So liquid directed into the center, and picked up by the impeller vents, and finally accelerated at a high velocity and getting discharged to the void casing. So this is the normal, what is the pump terminologies. So generally we say that. So this is the entry of the water, right? Usually we say that inlet, or we can say the eye of the eye of impeller, and these are the curved veins, right, which is located over the impeller. This complete setup, this circle is your impeller, and this is the outer casing, that we say casing, volute casing, and this is the outlet through which water will be coming. So you just look at water is entering axially and coming at 90 degree to it, right? So if you are going for multi-staging of this kind of setup, it's very difficult. So overall shape will be much bigger. So frontal area will be much bigger if you're going for multi-staging of the pumps. So usually we never prefer to use more than two pumps, right, in series. If we put also, we'll put those into series. We will not do the multi-staging, because if you are going for multi-staging, overall size of the plant will be much bigger. So that actually not desirable. Even the plants are operating on the earth condition, or we can say the land-based application. So this is the volute, right? As I said, that is the volute, and this is the entire thing is called volute casing, and this is the impeller casing. Impeller casing, and through this water will be circulating and rotating throughout, and while it's rotating over in the impeller blades, right? It's called curved vanes. Its kinetic energy increases, because of that pressure also will increase when it comes into the static part of the casing. At that time, expansion will take place. Due to expansion, what pressure will rise, right? So finally it comes out. So this is very simple. So it is having these all parts, right? So we can say that an impeller and a volute or diffuser, right, a style casing, and a shaft is will be there to, on which a impeller is mounted, and shaft sleeves, bearings, and sealing arrangements. So there will be no leakage of water right through the casing, so that sealing arrangements is there. So we can say that impeller is something. It can be considered as a rotor, right? It is used for increasing the kinetic energy of the flow. So the main purpose of this is to enhance the kinetic energy, and finally, high velocity of water is getting diffused right in the diffuser. So static pressure will rise significantly if your water velocity is much higher. So when we're talking about the casing, right, that is called volute. Volute is outer casing. You look at this entire thing is called volute casing. So when we talk about this volute or diffuser style casing, this actually contains the liquid and acts like a pressure container, right? Pressure container or pressure containment where pressure will arise. So what it will do here, pressure will rise, and also apart from that, it is doing the another purpose by directing the water to coming out at the outlet. So finally water is coming out of the volute casing. So as per the Bernoulli's principle, here conversion of kinetic energy into the pressure energy is taking place, because highly kinetic energy you have generated in the impeller, and that is going to be diffused right in the diffuser, and because of that pressure will rise significantly. And obviously, as this is the impeller has to be mounted on a shaft. So for that purpose, a shaft is required, and when you are coupling the shaft over the impeller, so shaft sleeves are also required. So those are basically sealings. So shaft means impeller is mounted on a shaft like that, you can see, or shaft is a mechanical component for transmitting the torque, because you have to supply the torque from outside to run the impeller. And for that purpose, you need a shaft that has to be coupled with some electrical motor, right, through which you will be transferring the torque to the impeller. And when you're talking about shaft sleeves, or we can say shaft sealings and all, so centrifugal pumps are provided with the packaging rings, right, or mechanical seal, which will basically prevent any kind of leakage of the pumped liquid out of the casing, right. For that, these all shaft sleeve and shaft sealing both are actually serving the same purpose. They will not allow any kind of leakage of water coming out from the casings. And bearings, obviously they will make your impeller rotation more smooth, and for that purpose bearings are also needed, particularly for rotor, to reduce any kind of friction between the rotating shaft and the stator. So there are at least five common types of bearings you may be knowing, but that's not needed to mention here. But there are various kind of bearings which can be utilized with, like a plain bearing, roller element bearing, jewel or fluid bearing, or magnetic bearing. So any one of these, any one of type of these bearings can be utilized, right, for reducing the frictional losses, right, between the shaft of the rotor and the rotor surface. So these are the main important parts, right, of the centrifugal pump. So if we just look at the detailed view of the centrifugal impeller, so this is the impeller, which is basically a rotor, and this is the eye through which water will be entering in, and this is the overall diameter, right, of the impeller. So diameter of the impeller, and this is the thickness of what? Thickness of the curved vanes, because over this blades are mounted, so thickness of the impeller, and these all are the vanes, right, through which water will be basically accelerating the movements entering here. So the thicker, if you are going to increase this impeller, that means more water it can handle. So larger the diameter means if you are going to increase this diameter wall, then more pressure. So increase the speed and more water and pressure. So that means if you are increasing the size of it, larger the size, larger pressure can be generated. But there is a limitation on it. You cannot go beyond the threshold value of the diameter of impeller and the thickness of the impeller. So sometimes two impellers will be, acting in a series. So if you are attaching two, means additional pressure will be rises. So we can say twice the pressure rise, and water, same amount of water will be entering. Like the water quantity will be same, but pressure rise can be doubled if you are going for two. And some cases even we have seen the application where multi impellers are being used, right, in the series. So placing multiple, impellers in the series, right, increases the amount of head produced at the end. Head will not be produced within the impeller, right? The moment your kinetic energy is coming in contact with the volute casing, their head will be produced. So that means you can say the head produced is equal to the number of impellers, right? How many impellers you are using into the head of one impeller. So like that you can find out the total head produced into the combination of all these impellers. So now working of centrifugal pump, I hope this is clear. Centrifugal pump works on all those centrifugal effects. So we can say it works on the principle of force vortex flow, which includes the centrifugal force. So the force vortex flow means the certain mass of liquid or liquid is allowed to rotate by some external torque, resulting in the rise in pressure head of the rotating fluid. So rise in the pressure head is used to deliver the water from one location to the another location. So it is a centrifugal force acting on the fluid that makes it to flow to happen right within the casing. So we can write mathematical equation for the static pressure rise or the static pressure head is equal to V square divided by 2Z, where V is equal to omega into R because it's rotating, so it will have certain RPM. So we can relate linear velocity in terms of R into omega. So omega is square R square divided by 2Z, where V is equal to R omega, right? So this is basically generating due to the centrifugal effect within the impeller vent. So what are the advantages of centrifugal pump? So these are the certain examples. One is that it is a simple in construction and very cheap. Handle liquid with a large amount of solids, right? So no metal or metal fits, right, involved. No valves required, right, in the pump operation. So maintenance costs are lower compared to the other types of pumps, right? If it is a reciprocating pump, in that case, lubrication is also required. There is a big problem with the reciprocating type of pumps. So lubrication issues are not there, and various valves need to be utilized when we are dealing with the reciprocating pumps. So here valves problems are not there. No need to attach any kind of valves. No metal or metal fits are required in this. So no additional things need to be attached. So it's very simple in construction, very cheap, and overall operation. If you look at for centrifugal flow compressor, is very smooth, right, and a continuous flow of water you can get out of it. So another way you can say that there is no vibration issues. So because in reciprocating motion, a lot of mechanical linkages are involved, and because of that, a lot of vibration issues will come if you are going for larger mass of water to be displaced from one point to the another point. That's a big limitation for the reciprocating pump. Second limitation is as they are involving a lot of valves and pressure relief valves, right, gauges and all. Because of that, maintenance cost will be much higher, right, in the case of reciprocating pump. But in this case, as those are not present, all things are completely rotary things. So maintenance cost is higher. So we are actually comparing with the reciprocating pump, but I have not introduced you to at present reciprocating pump, that we will discuss later on. But something idea about reciprocating pump, so there will be reciprocating motion for that piston cylinder and connecting rod and then crankshaft. Those all things are required. So when wherever there is a piston cylinder arrangement, it will be requiring the lubrication, right, or lubrication mechanism. So as it is there, right, so that is the additional thing. And apart from that, lot of mechanical linkages are there, and because of that, a lot of vibration issues may create. So there is another big disadvantage of reciprocating pump, but they are very simpler. Means if you compare, means at what we say, in a very simple way, you can create or develop the reciprocating type of pump. So this is regarding the centrifugal pump. So any queries in this? So for today, this much is enough, right? So I'll be stopping here. So any queries, please let